Okay, we'll go ahead and get started. Thank you, everyone, for attending. Again, my name is Vincent Kerr, and this is the Baton Rouge Metropolitan Airport's 15th Annual Business Opportunity Workshop, the first of the four breakout sessions. And I'm going to introduce today Mr. Trey Roussel of Convalent Logic, and he's going to be talking to you about marketing your business during and after the pandemic. Some very interesting information here. So with that, Mr. Roussel, it's all yours.
All right. Well, good morning, everybody. First of all, thank you for inviting me to this session. I think that the information I'm going to give is very specific to some of our clients. These are basically lessons learned. And hopefully this will be applicable to some of your businesses. I don't really have information about different types of businesses that are attending, but hopefully this general information will give you some information to kind of take back to your business. After the end of the presentation, I'm going to open it up for any Q&A, and if you do have any specific information or specific questions about your business that I can help with, I will try my best. We do have a very diverse group of clients, so we have a client base from a little bit of every different industry. So maybe I can help, maybe I can't, but I will absolutely try my best. So let me go ahead and start. Let me introduce myself and my company. Go ahead and flip to the first slide for me. So about Convalent Logic, we are a integrated communications agency. We actually have been around for 15 years. We have offices in Baton Rouge, Austin, and DC. We actually started our firm as a web development company. We primarily started building websites for our clients 15 years ago. But since that time, we have diversified and become a full service agency where we do marketing and advertising, graphic design, and public relations turnkey for our clients. Right now we have about half of our clients are website clients, and about 50% of our clients are traditional advertising and marketing clients. I am the vice president, but also wear the production manager hat for the company. And I do oversee the day-to-day operations of the company, but my experience here really lies in the production side, because I oversee all of our clients' marketing and ad campaigns. My experience comes from 15 years working at eTel, where I oversaw the marketing efforts and advertising efforts for them, and then another 5 years at Our Lady Lake before that. So that's kind of where I've kind of cut my teeth in marketing and advertising and branding. And so that's a little bit about my background. I will say that as a company and as a whole, I thought we were pretty good at preparing and planning, ahead, planning for emergencies. Surely hurricanes and floods were problems that we've dealt with, not just for ourselves, but for our clients. I will tell you, in no form or fashion were we ever prepared to handle a global pandemic that shut down the entire economy worldwide, including our own market, especially in sectors that we have some, very important clients in, which are travel, oil and gas, and tourism and hospitality. So, I could stand there and say, oh, we knew how to adapt quickly when the pandemic hit, but that would not be a truthful statement. What we did do, however, is very quickly adjust, not only for our company, but on behalf of our clients. So what I'm going to do really is talk about three specific scenarios, three marketing and ad campaigns that we either had to quickly adjust when the pandemic hit, or create from scratch because of the pandemic. So I'm going to talk about each of these individually. My plan was to kind of flip back from the presentation to our website, which actually had some of these different creative and advertising pieces on our site. However, I can't do that because I'm not in control of my presentation. So what I did was I put the URLs of each of these campaigns in the presentation. And so if you want to take note of these, you can actually go to these these URLs and see what I'm talking about as I'm talking about them if you'd like to. It's up to you, but it'll kind of coincide with what I'm saying. So first and foremost, let's talk about BTR. We have been the agency of record for BTR for about 3 years now. We developed their campaign, which hopefully everyone has seen by now. It's About Time campaign. That was about 2 years ago. We developed that to kind of talk about the message of BTR's really unique selling position, which was skip the long lines and the driving hassles by going to the other airport and by flying BTR. And we also, on top of that, kind of integrated a trip of the week campaign where we promoted, getaways to specific places that BTR flies into to kind of promote, getting away, even if last minute traveling, a little bit of content marketing there to kind of using BTR as the launch point, so to speak, of vacations. Well, that was a fully integrated campaign: TV, radio, outdoor, print ads, everything. And that message was resonating very well. It was the airport's employment was increasing year after year, and it was being successful. It was showing success, and we were actually in the process at the beginning of this year of working on updating that campaign, just to kind of refresh the creative, so to speak, with the same concept, the same tagline. It's about time, but with just some new, fresh creative. Well, then March 2020 rolled around, and as probably all y'all have heard about, air travel declined 90%, kind of across the board. So that was a very stark moment where we had to really sit down and say, okay, what do we do here for this campaign? So we paused the campaign entirely. We had to, we had media buys in place throughout the year, and so we had to negotiate, pausing with all these media vendors. And then we had to rethink the messaging because all of a sudden long lines and driving hassles was not a thing anymore. Blowing through security was not a thing anymore because air travel just wasn't happening. And as I think back on it, messaging during the campaign, during the pandemic, was something that a lot of people had to take into consideration, because I suspect that even a lot of companies that want to continue to advertising during the height of pandemic, if they wanted to advertise, they really couldn't because they didn't have an appropriate message. All of a sudden, the things they were selling or the messaging around their advertising wasn't really relevant anymore. So a lot of companies had to pause and take note of what the messaging was going to be, if and when they wanted to advertise, start marketing themselves again. All right. So what we did for BTR is we developed an interim campaign, and hopefully you guys have seen it too. It's called "Here's the Blue Skies," and it really talks about wanting to get back to travel, wanting to get back to normal life, and when that time comes, BTR is here to help you do that. It works on several levels. There's a lot of different, messaging in that. But the bottom line is we had to quickly pivot and come up with a new message that was not only relevant, but was also could be produced quickly in case we had to, for when we decided to relaunch the campaign, and also had a long shelf life, which I'll talk about in a second, because really we don't know how long this is going to go on, right? We don't know. We all want this to end quickly. We want to get back to our normal lives, but we just don't know when it will be. So we had to keep that in mind as we were coming up with a new campaign. So if you guys would like to go and look at these campaigns, you can go to the website and look at them. And I'm going to talk about the actual media buy in a second later on, but I want y'all to see the campaign if you'd like to. Another campaign that we did was for the Office of the Governor. We actually did two campaigns for them. They called this once in April when phase one was just announced, and that messaging was stay home. because that was really the governor's advice at the time was, if you don't need to get out, please don't get out, work remotely, stay safe, stay home. So we had to come up with a campaign to get that message out. And the question really was, how do we get that message out? What is the best way to get that message out? Because you know, they had limited resources, and we had to really reach the entire state on limited resources. So for this particular campaign, we used online advertising almost exclusively. We used Google ads, we used social media ads. We did pre-roll and over the top to get the video out there. We did do some billboards around the state because they were generously donated by Lamar Advertising, so we were able to do a billboard campaign to support that. But for us, it was a matter of, okay, we have a certain amount of money. What's the best way for us to spend this money to get this message out? And we all realized after research that online was the best way to do that. And I'm actually going to the actual channels in a second to talk about some of the ones that were more effective for us. We did a second campaign for the governor, which was the Mask Up campaign, which was when they announced phase 2. And that obviously was about, okay, guys, wear your masks. It's very important to wear your mask to protect others as well as yourself. We use a lot of the similar channels to do that. I will say for the Stay Home campaign, we actually came up with some very creative solutions to kind of reach people that had to get out, such as researching, you know, gas pump advertising and other locations where people, if they were out, where we could catch them to get this message to them. But unfortunately, some of the budget constraints didn't allow us to do that. But we really had to kind of think out of the box. You know, what's the best way to talk to people who are out of their houses to get them to understand the importance of not leaving if you know, unless they really have to. We had a lot of creative ideas. We did. We talked about some direct mail. We talked about doing some pre-roll video on gas pumps, like I mentioned earlier. So the whole point was trying to think out of the box and get creative with X amount of money to spend. Another campaign that we did was for the Ascension Parish School Board. When July rolled around, they were a little concerned about parents being worried about sending their kids back into a classroom environment. At this time, during that time, it wasn't really sure if classrooms are going to be open, if it's going to be another virtual environment again. There was a lot of uncertainty at that time. So they were concerned that parents would be looking for some other options for virtual learning, being in the form of charter schools or private schools or things like that. When in reality, they had a very robust online learning platform within the public school system that their students and their children could utilize for free. So in July, they were concerned that that was not wide enough knowledge. So we created a campaign for them, and this was just for Ascension Parish, to reach parents in key demographics, you know, school-age kids, K through 12, to let them know that this was an option for them if they were concerned. This was a very targeted campaign, unlike the governor's campaign where we were trying to reach statewide in every market. But it was very targeted, and online was a very good platform for that, because we could use Google ads, and we could use social media ads, and we could use video pre-roll and over the top to hit very key demographics for this particular message. So, and that was successful too for them, because by the time August rolled around, there was much wider awareness of that particular program. And what I've heard from them, not surprisingly, is that it's being used, is being utilized more than ever before. They actually had to make some adjustments to allow for the number of parents that were actually interested in doing that for their children. Okay, so next slide. So what did we learn from all this? I kind of divided this into two parts. What we learned from the creative side and what we learned from the campaign side. For the creative side, and none of this is rocket science, but we really had to be cost effective with our interim campaigns and these new campaigns, because we learned that when money is tight, you really have to be effective with your marketing dollars and your ad dollars, right? For the BTR campaign, we had to put together a campaign that didn't include any, video shoots, no production crews. We couldn't hire talent. We couldn't do a lot of things that we did the first time around. So we use a lot of, stock photography, stock videography. We did a virtual production where it was some in-house and some with a production studio, but we had to be very cost effective. We put together that campaign using a lot of stock imagery and stock videography that actually turned out very well. It was very effective because it's kind of stark and it's really reflective, which is kind of the messaging that we wanted. But the bottom line is, for all three of these campaigns that we did, we had to produce the creative quickly and cost effectively, because in all three situations, budgets were very limited. We also realized that these campaigns, particularly the BTR campaign, had to have a long shelf life. We really don't know how long this campaign needs to run right now. We're calling this our interim campaign, but there's just really too much uncertainty to really decide when can we go back to the normal It's About Time campaign. We don't know. We're not sure. So we had to make sure this message had a long shelf life. Like I mentioned earlier, it resonates on different levels. It has really different meanings, so it can go, it can go into next year if we had to. So all that was just being a good steward of the creative dollars to make sure that this particular message could stay out there as long as we needed to. Next slide. For the ad spend, so we determined that these were really cost-effective platforms to use for this campaign. In general, these are not just for these campaigns, but these are very cost-effective. Streaming, no surprise, was and is very cost-effective. Not only that, there are a lot of eyeballs on watching Netflix and Disney and Hulu and Apple Plus, just to name a few. Since people were in home, watching on their devices, right? So over the top, which are those particular devices, those particular channels that I talked about, as well as pre-roll, which is the ads that show up before a video, like before a YouTube video or before a news video on any of the popular websites out there that have their own video. Those were very effective because, again, we could target who we needed to target in key demographics, in key areas, in key regions, so that we know that our ad dollars were being effective. The Google Ad Network is a very vast and broad network of websites where you can display your ads, again, targeting key demographics if you want to. That's very low cost, all things considered. You can set your budget. You could set a daily budget. You can set your budget for your campaign. You can set your budget for demographics. It's very flexible in terms of what you really, how you want to spend your money. The social media ads were just as effective. Obviously, people flock to social media and still are during this time. And social media like Facebook actually have nice tools that allow you to create your own ads on the fly. So you don't have to have a creative department or agency to get involved if you don't want to. They have some really nice and intuitive tools to create your own advertising. Cable TV was also very cost effective, especially if you do a run a schedule, which basically allows you to run an ad if you want to, whenever they have availability. It's very low cost and broad reach. So it's a good way to get your message out there if you have one, to your prospective audience. Radio is also a cost-effective medium for us. It's a lot cheaper than TV advertising. again, you can target on key demographics based on the format of the station, be it sports talk or music formats. You're able to key in on demographics if you want to. And then lastly is direct mail, particularly a program that we found that's cost effective. It's called EDDM, which is Every Door Direct Mail. This basically you purchase a zip code route through the post office, and then you can actually use filtering tools on their website to say, okay, I want to reach this many households or households with this demographic, be it age or whatever. And you can purchase that number of houses on the route, and it's pretty cost effective. It's a lot cheaper than buying a mailing list and then sending it out that way. Then what you do is you actually purchase it online, and then you mail the post office your piece, and then they distribute it for you. So I don't know about y'all, but I never thought that running to the mailbox would be a family event in this lifetime. But March, April, May, it kind of was, and so people were paying attention to what was in the mail more so than ever. So it's a very cost-effective way to do that, and this particular platform is probably the most cost-effective way of doing it. So those are kind of the lessons we learned. Billboards and print media, all of that was effective campaign platforms before COVID, and it will be viable again, obviously, once we get back to a normal life. So I don't want to discount any of those, because those are all effective media to reach your audience. However, these are the ones that we determined to be most effective when we're dealing with scaled down budgets, scaled down campaigns, kind of scaled down everything. So that's it. Oh Lord, I ran late. Any questions that I can answer specifically about any of this?
Ladies and gentlemen, if you'd like to type in a question and send it in, we can forward it over to Trey, and we'll give you a moment for that.
And there's my email address. If you want to reach out, feel free to do so. I can answer any questions by email. And that's our website address. If you want to look at some of the other campaigns that we've done as an agency, all that is on our website as well.
Well, Trey, thank you so much. We do appreciate your presentation here. And ladies and gentlemen, our next presentation for the breakout sessions is going to begin at 10:10. And that's going to be Miss Bonnie Garrigan with Equity Economics. And hope to see you tuned in then. And we'll see you shortly. Thank you so much. And thank you again, Trey. I'm sorry.
All right. Thank y'all. Bye-bye.
Hey guys, this is Bonnie Garrigan. Just letting you know I'm here if anybody has any questions before the presentation.
Hi, Bonnie. This is Vince Kerr, and I'm with the Baton Rouge Airport. Thanks so much for doing the presentation. Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay, great. In just a few minutes here, we'll go ahead and introduce you. And what we'll do is we'll have a question and answer session afterwards.
Perfect.
You're going to go from 10 to 10:25. And if you want to end before that, that's fine. Just whenever you're completed, just say that you're ready for, if you have any questions, I'm happy to take them at this time. Some of them are going to be coming through on the, they're going to type them in. So anyway, that's the process for this.
Excellent. Thank you.
All righty. And Bonnie, what we normally do is give people a couple of minutes to sign in case they're having a little trouble. So right about 10:12, I'll go ahead and start the introduction.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and tackle this question since we have it out there. The murals, obviously public art is always something that there is an opportunity for. So I would encourage you to consider getting certified for that. I'm interested in the paint party events. I'm not sure if it rises to the level of concession opportunities where some things do, but I would definitely say that public art is, there are grants all the time for public art, and getting certified may just put you on a list that you otherwise would not have been on when agencies are looking for public art.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. This is the Baton Rouge Metropolitan Airport's 15th Annual Business Opportunity Workshop, second breakout session. And we're happy to have Ms. Bonnie Garrigan with us, Equity Economics. And she was just answering a prior question there. You haven't missed anything. So we've just given folks a few minutes to tune in and get online with us here. And I think with that, we're going to pass it over to Ms. Garrigan. So whenever you're ready, ma'am. Thank you.
All right. Thank you guys for coming. I'm going to go through kind of the post-bid because that was our topic for today, but I'm really happy to answer any kind of compliance DBE opportunity questions. I've been working with the Baton Rouge Airport for 13 of those 15 years of doing this event and of monitoring compliance and making sure that our DBE firms know about opportunities at the airport, and then once they're contracted, they're protected under those regulations. So I'm going to go through kind of the bid process kind of quickly, and then if you have any specific questions, I'm happy to answer those afterwards. If you want to go ahead and start typing them in the chat, we'll try and get to them at the end. We can go on. Yeah. So 49 CFR Part 26, if you were just in the main presentation, I kind of touched on this. It basically gives, requires all grant recipients to ensure non-discrimination on the basis of race, color, sex, national origin on the letting of contracts. So we have annual reporting requirements with the FAA. And we maintain that a bidders list, and those are kind of the main aspects of that regulation. So there are provisions within that regulation that protect DBE firms that are working at the airport. One of them is prompt payment, and that ensures that the prime contractor gets paid. That the prime contractor pays all of their subcontractors no later than 7 days from the receipt of payment from the Baton Rouge Airport. It also protects lower tier, second, third, fourth tier subcontractors as well. And then there's also protections around removal and substitution of DBE firms. So that DBE firms, once a prime firm is awarded a contract and follows the DBE goals and guidelines, they can't just say, okay, thanks DBE, I don't need you anymore, I already got this contract, I'm just going to do the work myself. DBE firms cannot be terminated. So if you are listed on that bid document, you can't be terminated without what's considered good cause. And myself and SJB Group are kind of the determiners of that good cause, as well as obviously the legal counsel of the airport. And that actually also just quickly goes to, if the scope changes and the work that you were supposed to do is not there anymore, it still qualifies. So we still have to show good cause that we, say, we decided not to do a part of the project that we originally planned to do, which actually happens more often than not when this comes up. And you're still protected. We have to, try and find another place for you to do the work, or replace, that part of the scope with a DBE to do the new part of the work, so that we maintain that initial level of commitment. There's a lot of, kind of good cause, but generally speaking, it has to be the DBE fails to do the work or walks away from the project for whatever reason, which happens sometimes. But it's something that does not just happen in kind of a paper format. there's always a discussion. There's always a kind of roundtable where we bring in the DBE and make sure that they are supported. Sometimes, they fail to do the work, but it turns out that the prime contractor didn't give, the proper schedule, or kept changing the days that the DBE was supposed to show up. So, we hold everybody accountable in that situation and make sure that there was no undue burden to the DBEs. And oftentimes we are able to resolve any desired termination or substitution requests just by, kind of having that conversation and discussing it. But that is a requirement in the legislation. So I think we might have missed one or two slides in the beginning. Can we go back a couple more? Try a few more back. Oh, okay. Well, so I'll just, let me see. Yeah, strange. In mine, slide 17 is the schedule A, B, and C, but that's okay. So, when you bid on a contract for the airport, the prime firm is, the one that is trying to get the DBE participation to meet the goal. As we stated earlier, the prime firm has an obligation to either meet the goal or show good faith efforts to meet that goal. And that is generally displayed in the post-bid award documents. So because of our public bid law, we don't turn in these forms at the time of bid. They're required to be turned in normally 5 days after the bid is turned in. So everybody turns in their bid, and then the top two lowest bidders are asked then to provide their post-bid documents. And that includes kind of 3 documents about DBE. There's a Schedule A, B, and C. So Schedule A literally just shows all of the firms that are participating in this project. So starting out with the prime firm, say the prime firm's doing 60% of the work, and then each subcontractor, say the first subcontractor is doing 10%, the third one, second, third, and it shows everybody in all tiers that are participating in the project and what they're planning to do. So that allows us to get a picture of all of the participants in that project. And then the Schedule B is kind of a mini contract between the prime firm and the subcontractors. So each subcontractor is then, each firm is then filling out the Schedule B to give information about their firm and the work that they're going to be participating on this project. And the beauty of the Schedule B is that, you guys have to sign it. All of the DBs have to sign it. And so a prime firm can't just put any firms on there and say, oh yeah, we're going to use these firms, and not notify you that they're using your name in a contract. Because you have to complete the Schedule B, and it has to be included in those post-bid documents. So one of the strategies then as a DBE is to have that Schedule B filled out, signed, and ready to go, so that you can provide it to a prime firm when they ask for it. And you already have it, and it's in its completed format. And the final DBE form is the Schedule C, which is the good faith efforts. And I always encourage all my prime firms to document the good faith efforts that they used to find DBE firms. Even if they meet the goal, exceed the goal, there are always items that come up, especially with our public bid law, where perhaps you didn't complete the form correctly, or maybe one of your firms was DBE certified last year but is no longer DBE certified. The Schedule C allows us to kind of be a little bit more flexible when we're making a determination, because the laws require that you either meet the goal or make good faith efforts. So if there's anything wrong with the DBE commitment in your bid documents, we can always kind of lean on the Schedule C and demonstrate that you reached out to DBE firms, that you gave them an opportunity, that they are participating in your project, and maybe you wrote maybe you forgot to sign your form, but you've still made good faith efforts, and we can generally overlook some minor mistakes on the other forms. So it's a really protective form. In addition to, if you are not able to meet the goal, documenting your good faith efforts, letting us know that you reached out to the firms that were certified to do that work, but they were not they were not actually capable. They didn't have the material. They were not, what we say, ready, willing, and able to perform. So if you do have issues finding DBE firms, first reach out to me and to Kenyatta, because we can normally help you in that situation. But second, document everything that you did to attempt to meet that goal, so that we can generally either assist or make sure that your bid is still compliant. So that's pretty much kind of the post bid and the compliance portion of the process. I'm going to look here for more questions. There is no preference for the location of DBEs, except that when I'm calculating the goal, I'm not counting your firm if you're not in our metropolitan statistical area. So when you bid on a contract, there's no preference applied. And if you are certified, this goes back to our earlier question, if you are certified in your home state, you can also get certifications in other states. Most states have kind of a reciprocity where you don't need to do another site visit. They kind of trust the site visit that happened in your home state. So once you're certified in your home state, if you're going after work in adjacent states or all over the country, I do recommend that you get certified in those states. But generally, it's a pretty simple process to get certified in other states once you're already certified in your home state. Will there be an opportunity for contract security in projects? There is always a minor security component to most of our projects because of the requirements to maintain, a safe construction area based on the safety of the airport. So I would say yes, there are often opportunities for contract security. That's one of the things that sometimes does not get included in a goal per se, but it's an interesting comment, and I might consider that in the future, especially when we have projects that are on the airfield or are difficult to seclude, and you do need to have kind of credentials to enter the site. Yes, definitely.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, if there's no further questions, thank you, Bonnie. That was very informative. And our next breakout session will be at 10:40. And we hope to see everyone on the third session. Thank you so much.
I'm not sure I understand the next question that came in. Is there an opportunity to present our business if we don't see an initial need, but can see how our business may be beneficial later? I guess present it where? You know, I would say there's always an opportunity to just send information into the airport about your business and let them know that you're there. Getting certified is probably a good first step, but I would absolutely say, you know, especially if we're talking about like a muralist, you know, the Baton Rouge Airport does have the aviation committee meetings once a month, and there's always an opportunity for public comment there, where you could absolutely have the opportunity to just, you know, give a couple of minutes to let people know that you're out there. And you know, it may not happen immediately, but if they are looking for public art, they would kind of have that as a reminder that it's out there. You know, there's always the opportunity to identify a place where public art could be available, and you know, let people know that you know, submit a proposal on your own, kind of unsolicited about that. In addition, the concessionaires within the airport have, you know, their concession stands, and perhaps they would be interested in, you know, a mural or some artistic presentation to for design of their concessionaires, and that's something that we can pursue. And they also have a ACDBE, Airport Concession DBE goals as part of their contract. So those are always opportunities that exist.
All right. Well, thank you again, everyone. Thank you again, Ms. Garrigan, and we're looking forward to our next session. Third session will be at 10:40, and we'll see you then. Thank you. Bonnie, this is Vince. Are you getting any more questions over there?
I don't think so.
Hi,
Oh,
Bon.
yeah.
Hi, okay, so I just had a quick question. I'm sorry, my name is Ashley Aknawat. I was the one inquiring about the murals. So thank you for the information about the murals and everything and how to go that route. I did want to know, did you have any suggestions in regards to like the virtual art parties? Because essentially what it is, it's like they're paint parties, but because of COVID, everything is set up virtually and we're able to like ship kits out. Like entire art kits. So I was thinking more so like if there were business meetings or either, you know, how sometimes companies do like where they have all of their people come together and do, my brain is going dead, but corporate
Yeah.
or things
I
of
mean,
that nature.
again, the airport is a business. If you know, if that's something that you'd market, I would say absolutely market it. And just having kind of that shining star of being DBE certified, because it's not like a federal grant that would probably pay for that. It's not exactly going to count towards our participation in the way that you know, public art grant would qualify. But I mean, again, the airport is a business. It is, you know, an operating city almost. And those opportunities, if they exist other places, they exist in the same way at the airport. So I would encourage you, especially on the mural side, to get certified and to promote your business in that way. And once you're certified, we can help promote your business to the concession managers and owners of each of the concessions. And especially when we do kind of bigger projects where we're renovating terminals, those are always opportunities that we're looking for. So, you know, yeah, I encourage you to dream big and just to get your name out there.
Okay, because like I said, I am certified in Atlanta. I literally just moved here a week ago. So
Yeah.
it's so awkward.
Congratulations, welcome.
I love
then,
it. I
yeah.
really
But you know, definitely look at getting cross certified, because it's very simple process, and it just makes you show up on our registry when we're looking, you know, for local firms.
Okay, and so to do the cross certification, I know on the other video or the previous Zoom you mentioned the laucp.org
Yes.
website. I can just go to that website and just get certified there.
Exactly. So there's 3 certifying agencies. The Department of Transportation is probably your best bet in Baton Rouge. And but all of the information is there. All the forms are there. And Kenyatta and SJB Group actually have the contract with the Department of Transportation to assist DBE firms in kind of gathering their paperwork and preparing for that certification as well. So they can kind of walk you through the process and make sure that you're ready and you don't have any questions before you submit all your documentation.
Okay, perfect. So I can just go there to get certified, and would it automatically place me like in you all's database that way?
Yep,
or
exactly.
Oh, okay, perfect. Okay, that's all I got.
Yeah, good. I'm glad we could answer that.
Bonnie.
Yeah.
Hi, this is Stephanie Vivians from Mississippi. I have a question with, once I became a DBE with MDOT, I was automatically a DBE with the Jackson Airport. but the only thing I had to do was register as a vendor, with the airport in addition to. Would I have to do, now I'm also a DBE, a registered certified DBE with the DOT, Louisiana DOT. So is the procedure still the same, or would I have to do something separately for the airport?
Yeah, so once you get certified with, so you can get cross-certified with the Louisiana Department of Transportation, and then once you're certified with them, you're automatically in the database for the airport, the highway department, the transit agencies, everybody. But it is probably recommended that you still get not certified, but register as a vendor with the East Baton Rouge purchasing department. Just so that you get notified of solicitations that are coming out.
Okay. So East Baton Rouge, I'm sorry.
It's the purchasing department.
Purchasing.
It's the city purchasing.
Okay. Okay.
Yep.
Thank
and
you.
You do the same in New Orleans, or if you're looking for work around there too.
Ma'am, I'm sorry. Can you repeat that?
Yeah, no, it's just kind of the same process that you can get, you can register as a vendor with the city of New Orleans and city of, Shreveport, wherever you're looking to do work. And that just helps, get you more information about upcoming solicitations. But once you're certified, you're in our database for the whole state.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. All right, guys. Well, thank you guys for coming out. I believe that my contact information is available in our materials, but I'll put it out here just so you have it. And let me know if you have any more questions. Thanks.
Hello, Ms. Green. This is Vincent Kerr. Can you hear me? Oops, I believe you might be on mute there. Ms. Green, I can't hear you. I'm sorry. Let's see. See if we can get, no, nothing yet. We'll see if we can get this fixed up. Check your mute button there on your PC. Nothing yet. Let's see. Well, we're looking forward to your presentation here. We're going to get this, try and get this straightened out. Check the volume on your laptop there. Nothing yet. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get this worked out for you. If you can bear with us for just a moment. Ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately, we're having some technical problems with Mrs. Green's presentation. We're going to try and get that corrected here. Ms. Green, if you can check on your PC to make sure the mic settings are correct, that might be a problem.
Can you hear me?
Yes, now we've got you there. Okay, great. Let's make sure here. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I've always heard you. I don't know why you couldn't hear me.
Uh-oh. Well, I'm glad we're past that, and we're looking forward to your presentation here. So I'm going to
Yes,
go ahead and introduce you. Thank you for your patience, ladies and gentlemen. And our third speaker in the breakout sessions is Ms. Keisha Alexander Green, and she's Contract Administration Program Manager for LADOTD for compliance programs. And I'm going to hand it over to you, Ms. Green, and you can start whenever you're ready. We'll have a question and answer session following.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining this breakout session. The purpose of this presentation is to give an overview of the post-award documents and processes that DBEs should familiarize themselves with. I'm gonna go on to the next slide. In the beginning stage, after a low bidder prime contractor has been awarded a project, they have 5 days to submit the DBE paperwork. Let's go with the slide again. I need the next bullet up, please. Thank you. They have 5 calendar days to submit an approved CS6AAA, which is our commitment document that states what DBEs are being used to meet the goal on that particular project. The DBEs that's selected to meet the goal on the project must be certified in the work items they're performing in order for the department to receive gold credit. So a lot of times we'll have CS6 AAAs, which again are the commitment documents that we would actually have to reject because DBEs are not certified to perform that particular work. So I always say if you're capable of doing the work and can prove you've worked on a contract doing that type of work, to make sure you have all of the work codes that you need to be selected by a prime contractor to perform that work to meet the goal on that particular project. Going on to the next slide. This is the CS6 AAA form. The DBE and the prime contractor must sign this commitment document. I just wanted them, I wanted the DBEs to be familiar with this form, so they need to know what it looks like, what should be on it, what the requirements are when submitting it to avoid delays in the processing. We can go on to the next slide. In the operational stage, again, all subcontractors performing work on the project must be approved prior to going to work on the project. A lot of times we find that DBEs or subcontractors in general are working on the project without an approved request to sublet. It's very important to have this document completed and submitted to compliance prior to going to work on the project, because if anything happens on the project where the DBE should need some type of attention as far as payments or any type of complaints they may have on the project, if they're not listed on the CS6 AAA as a DBE to meet the goal, then they're not an approved subcontractor, and that could draw up some issues with getting resolution to the problems that they may be having at that time. If it's not a request to sublet, it's going to be a supplier's agreement or a trucker's agreement, depending on the type of work being performed on the project. So if you're hauling, of course, you'll have a trucker's agreement. If you're supplying materials, then you'll have a supplier's agreement. All other work outside of trucking and supplying should have a request to sublet form. And again, these forms also must be signed by both the prime contractor and the subcontractor. So I would say, for those awarded subcontracts on highway construction projects with DOTD, is to be certain that you have this form. It's required, excuse me, by the prime contractor to submit this document. But if the DBE know that they're supposed to have it and the prime haven't asked them to sign off on it, then you don't have it and it's not approved. So you may run into some issues. So, tell the prime contractor, hey, I know that DOTD requires us to have a request to sublet prior to going to work on the project, and I don't recall signing that. Should I have this document? Because like I say, in the end, you may have some problems, and if you don't have a signed request to sublet, truckers agreements, or suppliers agreement, you may have some issues getting those problems resolved. Going on to the next slide. In these next 3 slides, these are the documents that I'm speaking of, the request to sublet. This is the request to sublet form. This is required to be filled out and submitted prior to work on the project. And I just want to give you guys a visual of what you should be looking for from the prime contractors prior to going to work on these projects. Go to the next slide, please. This is the truckers agreement. Again, just getting familiar with the forms. I've listed them in the PowerPoint so you guys can have familiarity with what you should be getting from these prime contractors. And the last form is the supplier's agreement. So these are the 3 documents that should be signed off on, depending on the type of work being performed on the project. I'm going to go on to the next slide. During the tracking stage, DOTD is required on all federal aid projects to perform a commercially useful function. In doing so, we must make sure that the DBE is using their own workforces, making sure that they're not relying on the prime contractor to perform the work on the project. So if you see inspectors or DOTD personnel, or myself even, because I perform a lot of CUFs across the state of Louisiana, we are there not to just check on you, see what you're doing, but to make sure the process is going smoothly, to make sure that you guys also know the rules and regulations as it relates to federal aid projects. So during that time, over the course of the period, on every project they have that's federal aid, you'll probably have a cuff review. Next. During the closing stage, we have what we call a CP2A, which is a document that documents the final report, the final payments to all DBEs. I would suggest that you are familiar with the AASHTO processes to make sure that what the prime contractors are recording or documenting in AASHTO actually matches the information that the payments that they've actually paid you, because a lot of times we have discrepancies at the end when we get this final report for the DBE payments, because the DBE may say, well, I only got paid $12,000, whereas the prime contractor may be documenting that they've paid them $14,000. So this helps with a lot of discrepancies at the end of the project where the payments don't match up. We used to have what we call a CP1A, which is just the monthly payments. They're required to submit documentation of the monthly payments over the life of the project. And whether there are payments or not, even if you didn't get paid that month, they should document a $0 payment. In turn, the DBEs have the opportunity and should also approve this in the AASHTO system. They have the opportunity to view these payments monthly. It's no longer a paper process. It's all automated, and you can log in and view them. And if you see where something is not right in the system with your payments, for instance, if the prime documented he paid you $17,000 that month and you didn't get $17,000, then you need to, contact compliance and say, hey, there's a discrepancy in my payment. That's not the correct payment. That prevents discrepancies at the end of the project when we get to the end, and it actually affects us meeting our department goal, because if the payments are not right, what the report is reporting is also wrong. So we want to make sure we're all on the same page with the reporting of the payments. Next slide. This is a copy of what the CP2A form looks like. On here, again, the prime contractor will document all the payments that they've made to the DBEs over the life of the project. We have what we call a CP2A comparison report. It can be ran by the DBE as well as the prime contractor to compare payments. That way you'll know if you actually, what you have matches what DOTD have in the system. Next slide, please. Okay, we're gonna talk about prompt payments. A lot of people don't know about our prompt payment process. The prime contractor is required to pay their subcontractors within 14 days of being paid by DOTD. We recently had a change to our DBE plan. It was approved by FHWA in September of 2018, where now projects led after September the 30th of 2018, they have 30 days to pay you after DOTD has paid them. So in an instance, DBEs aren't getting paid on projects, they can file a prompt payment complaint. The complaint is an automated process. It can be filed online. You click on the link. I've added the link here for you, for your reference. You click on the link, you fill out all the information requested, and you submit it to compliance. Once I receive that complaint, I'll acknowledge it and I'll start an investigatory process. If in fact the prime contractor have been paid by DOTD and it's been more than the days that they should have paid, whether it's the 14 or the 30 days, then we'll address that situation with the prime and hold payments until they actually pay the DBE subcontractor. And you guys, if you need any help, within the process of filling out the prompt payment complaint or need more information, you can always contact me. My information will be listed at the end of this PowerPoint. Next slide, please. No retainage can be held on DBE federal aid projects, not for insurance, not for equipment use, not for anything. Retainage should not be held. Anyone having retainage held by a prime contractor should contact compliance immediately. Next slide, please. We just want to talk about some other important issues, and that kind of touches on just what I said about the equipment use. The prime contractor cannot lease equipment to a DBE. We will allow it for special use of equipment such as cranes and stuff like that, because of course, there's no way you're going to have 2 cranes on a project, or a DBE just might not have resources for that type of equipment. So we'll approve it on a case-by-case basis, but a prime contractor should not be leasing equipment to any DBE subcontractor without an approval from this office. The same thing goes with joint checks. We do allow joint checks for material supplying, but you must have a prior approval from our office to do so. Next slide, please. These are some important links here for our website. You can click on either of these links for different resources. For our full website, the link is listed first. For contract administration resources, kind of all of the things that I've went over on this PowerPoint with you, you can find it there. This is the Ashtoware login, where you can go and review everything you need to know about a specific project that you are a sub or prime on, because of course we want DBEs to be primes as well. And the very last link is for the subcontractor payments. And if you have any questions, regarding going through our website or finding information, we're always here to help. You can reach out and contact us at any time. Next slide, please. Do you guys have any questions? If you do, I can take them at this time. Okay, if we don't have any questions, the very last slide is the contact information for everyone here in the compliance programs contract administration section. Ms. Rhonda Wallace, who is the DBE SBE program manager. You have myself, the contract administration program manager. You have Judy Holloran. She handles most of the sublets. And you can contact either of us. I'm sorry, I'm having questions popping up. I think I had a question from Joe Fleming, and I can't view the question anymore.
Ms. Green, the question from Mr. Fleming is, does your office have a list of DBEs needed the most?
No, we don't have a list of DBEs that's needed the most. We have our UCP that lists all DBEs for every type of work there is to perform on different projects, and some that, we just have our UCP directory. No, we don't have a list of just people that's needed the most, DBEs that's needed the most, because we have so much different type of work on highway construction projects. It just depends on the project. The UCP directory, you can, a few slides back, I shared a link that it was the very first link that said the compliance program section. If you click, if you click on that very first link or copy that link and go to our website, you would click on doing business with DOTD, and then you would click on UCP. On UCP, you'll see where they have the UCP directory, and you can search DBEs by work, the type of work that they do, where they're located, or you can view the directory as a whole. If you want to narrow it down and you're looking for specific DBEs, I suggest you search by that type of work. You're welcome. Thank you for your questions. Do we have any more questions here? Okay, I don't think we have any other questions, but I want to thank you guys very much for attending this session. And remember, we're always here to answer any questions or guide you, give you information. Feel free to reach out to us at any time. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Green. And ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take just a very short break here, and we will continue with our fourth breakout session with Ms. Lakeisha Robichaux in just a couple of moments if you wanted to stay on, or if you want to tune back to us here in just a couple of minutes, and we'll stand by for that. Thank you so much.
All right, have a great day.
Thank you, Ms. Green.
Good afternoon. Let's see, are we ready for the fourth breakout session? All right, I think we are. All right, well, it's still morning, I apologize. Good morning, everyone. So if you had an opportunity to hear me on the main stage, I talked about business resiliency. And if you don't know me, I'll quickly introduce myself. I am an entrepreneur and CEO and founder of Chief of Minds. And Chief of Minds, we are an outsourced human resources company. We provide HR support to businesses that do not have an HR department, which includes the HR consulting, employee relations. It includes payroll management, employee handbooks, unemployment claims management. You name it, we provide it to our clients.
I'm also the CEO and founder of Chief of Minds Staffing and Chief of Minds Insurance, where we provide staffing services and employee group benefits. So this morning, I want to dig a little bit deeper into business resilience, because this is an extremely important topic right now as we are going through this pandemic. It's been about 7 or 8 months, and businesses are still pivoting. We're still shifting through really getting accustomed to how businesses will operate as we move forward. Here you can see some of my information to connect with me. Feel free to do so. I am on all of the social media outlets, from Facebook to Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, email, and the website. So definitely please connect. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me, but definitely let's connect over social media. You can go to the next slide. And you can advance through these. I've talked about these. And this one, I don't think I talked about that. And I'll just say real quickly, Biz Chiefs is a membership program we have for individuals that are either starting a business or looking to grow and scale their business. And so we have virtual classes where we do sales, marketing, human resources, social media, branding, finance, all different types of topics that we have twice a month to help you grow and scale your business. And then other conferences and workshops that we do also. So with business resilience, as I once said, it is really preparing your business to adjust, adapt, and respond when you are faced with adversity or some type of crisis. And it is critical for success. All right. So in order to prepare for the business resilience in which we are doing today, you really have to go in and evaluate your day-to-day operations. And to be quite honest, this is something that has to be done before the crisis of the pandemic. This is something that you really want to do ahead of time. So you really have time to really dig in and really see what are the core functions of your business. You can advance to the next slide. Okay, so you can dig into what are the core functions of your business, because you have to go back and ask yourself, what does business resilience mean to your business? Okay, basically, what does it mean to the success of your business? If there was a crisis that happened today or tomorrow, how will you sustain as a business? What is your mission? What is your vision as a business? And how can you carry that out with your contingency plan? You can go to the next slide. And so when I was speaking on the main stage, I talked about effective planning and what that is. So, the impact analysis of really looking at your business. If something was to happen, how will this impact my business? If I had something that could possibly stop the operations of my business, what would it cost? What would the outcome do? Will it shut me down as a business, or can I maintain and can I thrive in a situation like this? Now, looking at your important records and resources, this is very important. So in a time like this, financial statements are one. Because you really need to have your financial statements on hand. Hopefully you have some type of technology, accounting, software that you're looking at, but looking at your records as far as your vendors, who you order from, what type of product you need, the quantities, the pricing, that's important. Your employee records, because in situations like this, as many of you know, some of this has impacted some of your employees where you've been unable to get in contact with them. They have been taking care of family members. Unfortunately, they have been impacted by COVID themselves, where they haven't been able to respond. So having records and resources available at your fingertips is very important. And so having technology in place or some type of structure, but I highly recommend you have some type of technology in place where you can gain access to this information and it's readily available, is very important. Like I said, if you don't have a system or something like that in place, you need to put it in place. Now, essential functions. This is where a lot of businesses had a hard time at, because they really didn't understand and didn't know who are and what are the essential functions. Who do I need to keep on staff to be able to maintain? And so we had to have a lot of conversations with clients and even non-clients about who to keep on staff, because during the pandemic and even right now, some functions and some roles Businesses cannot sustain because business is down, revenue is down, they've lost contracts and clients. And so looking at it to see, I need this essential person to stay with me. I need this potential role, these functions to stay with me in order to at least to keep the business operable is very, 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 very important. You know, going back and even looking at the job descriptions, if you don't have a good idea if someone else handled this role and maybe you were not hands-on on it, take a look at the job description so you can see what are the duties and responsibilities that they carry out on a day-to-day basis and how is it adding value to my business, and do I need this right now to be able to continue to operate my business? Because you have some positions and functions that are just core to the business in which you operate. If those positions and roles go away, it could possibly take the business out of business, or it can put a lot on you where you're strained from the impact of them leaving the organization or you having to lay them out or terminate them. So looking at the essential functions is important. Doing a risk assessment, as I talked about earlier, knowing what your vulnerabilities are, okay? If this happened, this could take me out as a business, okay? So know what your vulnerabilities are, even doing a SWOT analysis, you know, looking at your strengths, your weaks, your opportunities, and your threats is important. And that's something that you can definitely add and look at when you carry out your risk assessment. What would it take? All right. The response plan, knowing, you know, from A to Z, this is what's going to happen. If we were to have another pandemic, a cybersecurity attack or a data breach, this is what should happen. This person will be notified. They will contact this employee. They will carry out this. Maybe they distribute alternate laptops, so they give alternate login information. The IT department is contacted where they give out information. Maybe the CEO sends a message to all of the employees to let them know this is how we're going to move forward. This is the day operations. Have a response plan in place so that business can be as normal and routine as possible. Business as usual is what you want, because you don't want to create the confusion and anxiety of employees, because when that happens, then it affects their work. And then it also affects our external factors as well too. You know, your clients hear wind of it, the vendors hear wind of it, your stakeholders do. And so they're wondering on if the business is still firm. Can you still carry out like you were carrying out before? And then your communications plan. They're really, honestly, you should have 1 to 2 point of contacts for your business continuity plan. 1 or 2 people should be your main point of contact. And that's where your messaging flows. And that way, you know, everything is said the way it should be said. The messaging is correct. You're delivering, you know, what needs to be said, and you don't have messages coming from different people, because we all know we played the game before where you tell one person, and you go down the road, 30, 40, 50 people have said it, and the message is no longer authentic, is no longer what you said it was. It gets skewed. So you should only have 1 or 2 people as your main point of contact during this time frame, so that way messaging stays succinct, it stays clear, and it stays authentic to what you want your employees and everyone else to know. You can go to the next slide. I talked earlier about setting expectations, very important. As a business, they need to know exactly what's going on. You know, what will the hours of work look like? What will communication look like? Is there a new process for requesting leave, for check reimbursements, for accounting? Clarify roles and communicate the responsibilities to individuals. If they're doing dual roles, let them know that, you know, you're going to be taking on these particular duties and responsibilities. If there's a new point of contact for that role, communicate that to everyone, because that's most important when you have some type of disaster that's going on and you're trying to create the business resilience that you need. Next slide. All right, establish check-ins with your team, okay? So commit to consistency. Even right now, like I said, we're 7-8 months into this pandemic, it's not over, but create the consistency. So if you are gonna communicate to everybody in the morning, every morning at 8:00 a.m., commit to doing that. That way employees, they see a routine, your vendors see a routine. If you're gonna communicate email to them, commit to consistency, okay? Commit to consistency. Reinforce that you are accessible and provide support and resources. So that way they know that there is still someone there that they know that they can speak with, that's what's going on. You can have group or one-on-one calls, and then allow questions and concerns to be shared. Again, this goes back to reducing anxiety and confusion. Next slide. As I said, communication is key. If you have not invested in technology, make sure that you do so. Commit to redundancy. Avoid micromanaging employees. All right, that's the last thing, because there's so many shifts that they have going on right now in their homes. They may be taking care of loved ones, things like that. So you don't want to micromanage. You can still have accountability. That doesn't take away the need, and as you should have accountability, but the micromanaging definitely remove that component. Empower the employees, give them the flexibility that they need, and create opportunities for everyone to speak and things like that. But as I said before, communication is key during a time like this, because what you don't want is your key employees to move in another direction. And when I say another direction, possibly leaving the company because they just can't handle the stress and things that's going on. And right now, sustainability and resilience is very, very important. Next slide. All right, know that during business resilience, and what that means, not during business resilience, but what business resilience mean is having, being able to sustain operations, through any type of crisis, that you can restore, you can come back, you can return. What that means is that your employees, your contractors, they're looking for you to support that. They're looking for you to support, they're looking for you to listen, they're looking for you to empathize, to show compassion, to reaffirm that there is stability, okay? So give employees the hope that they need. And then honestly, and quite frankly, if the business is going in a different direction and they may not be needed, be honest with them. Let them know, like, listen, things are taking a turn. We will stay in communication with you, but right now we're going to be doing some rearranging, some reorging with the business to make sure that we can move forward. And so we will be touching bases on what that looks like, but be very honest and transparent with them, because they are looking for you as the leaders to offer the support that they need and to empathize with the situation that they're going through. Okay, so again, for leaders, as I said before, understand that there may be an imbalance. Make sure that employees have the right type of tools that they need. And again, this goes back to the systems and processes. I can tell you early on, to give you an example, some of our clients, there was no way for employees to know. They were used to clocking in and clocking out. There was no way for them to know what that should look like. If they should, write their time in, should they not do that? There was no accountability, the type of accountability they were used to. Employees that traveled, there was no way for them to submit check reimbursement, things like that. These are things that, and of course, some of these financials were really needed to keep the business flowing and keep the business afloat. It is important that employees know exactly what this is, what the system will look like, so that way they can continue to report to work, the business can continue to function. So it's so important to have systems and operations in place to look internally, to put forth inside of your business and to carry out externally as well. You can go to the next slide. Continue your employee engagement. You may want to submit different surveys to your employees to ask them, how they feel about what's going on during this particular pandemic. Because again, the last thing that you want to do is to lose employees that are critical to your business. You can go to the next slide. All right, and this is if in the event that with your contingency plan, if you need a work from home, if you're shifting and pivoting to work from home, which many businesses are now, they're doing a hybrid program. I want to just highlight that you need to make sure you have some type of policy in place. This is most important for accountability. Although there is a crisis, you still have to have policies in place. So make sure that you have something in place employees can refer to, they can go and look at, they can cross-check to make sure that they're meeting the policies, the needs of the organization, but make sure that there is something in black and white that they can go and refer to. Next slide. So again, with the continuity management, infrastructure, is very important. The operational pieces is very important. You can go to the next slide. As we look at the risk and to ensure continuity. So going back, I do want to highlight again, and I know I spoke about this on the slides earlier, in which this is something also that I talked about during early on the main stage. But again, these are the risk assessment, the risk mitigation, continuity strategies, communication. Very, very important when you are looking at business resilience for you. So if you have not, if you have not looked at these different components of your business, what it will take for you to continue business, well beyond 2020, going into 2021, this is what you need to do. You need to look at doing your assessment. You need to look at the mitigation of what it would cause and how you can avoid it. Your continuity strategies, communication, and then again, roles and responsibilities and how you want to implement it. Make sure that you do this in order to continue to operate your business as you would. So this is this is pretty much the bulk of the presentation. I want to stop here and ask, does anyone have any questions? Got it. Okay, all right. It doesn't look like we have any questions, and I am coming up on my time. But I just want to, I want to make sure again, and I want to highlight also something that we didn't talk about on the main stage with the PPP funding. That was another issue that we saw coming in when it was time for individuals and businesses to apply for the PPP funding and the different SBA loans, that they did not have the back office set up correctly. And again, this goes right along with business resilience. So one of the big things that we notice is that from a tax standpoint, tax reports and documents were not properly filed, or they didn't have the information that they need for the taxes to be properly filed. Employee information was not readily available. During any type of disaster or pandemic, you want to have this information readily available so that way it is easy for you to go in and apply for these different loans or the funding that you want. That's so important to have that, so you won't have any issues with trying to get it. Even when we talk about the Main Street, even with the Main Street, the Main Street grant, there has been issues with businesses not having the proper paperwork in place, and so not being able to qualify, not being able to submit what they need for the grant. So make sure, especially from a payroll and a HR standpoint, a business financial standpoint, that you're looking at your financials, you have something in place, a system and process in place to be able to have the reports available. And there's many systems that have this. If you don't have like an accounting system, of course, there's QuickBooks, there's HR, human capital management systems. We have that where you can easily print out these reports that you need. That's, easy, very, very easy to do. And you don't want to miss out on the grants, the loans, the funding that can really help sustain your business for success to move forward so that you can continue to operate. And again, like I said, with any type of situation, allow flexibility, make sure that you schedule adjustments that are needed for your business. You focus on the outcomes and the completions, all right? Focus on outcomes and completions, not how the employees are getting it done, or not how the vendors or the contractors are getting it done. Just focus on completion. And I highlight this so much is because I have seen businesses, honestly, businesses close because employees have felt stressed about not being able to get things done that they need to get done. And then, business owners are stressed as well too, because sales are down, revenue is not coming in, but they need these key people, but they've walked away. And so you definitely don't want that. Definitely allow the flexibility that they need, that you need, so you can continue to operate. Training and development is important as you're planning on moving forward. If you have identified the key roles that you need inside of your business, train and develop those employees as you move forward. Who knows how long unfortunately, how long the pandemic will last. Train them so that way they may be able to perform dual roles, dual responsibilities, functions that they can take on. Encourage employees to use alternative services if you have any, and just know that the situations vary. But all of this goes back to, as I said before, the planning process and what you can do to really do internally. What are your risks that exist, and then really filling out the roles roles and functions that are important and core to your business to help it sustain. So I'm going to stop right there because I know that I'm running out of time again. I don't want to go too long. So are there any questions before we end our breakout session today? any questions about business resilience, where you're adding your business right now, suggestions that you may need as far as operations or systems to set up or reports or anything like that. All right. Okay. If there's no questions, well, thank you so much for attending the breakout session. I appreciate you joining me to talk about and look over business resilience and what does it mean for your business and make sure that you are set up to be resilient. And if you have any questions in the future on setting up your business with the proper systems and operations, feel free to reach out to me. You can go to the next slide. I believe I have my contact information on the next slide. Yes. And there's my contact information again.
All right. Well, thank you, Ms. Robichaux. That was a very nice presentation. And if there's any other questions, we'll still take them. And ladies and gentlemen, we hope you'll join us with the remainder of the presentations in the main workshop. And that concludes the breakout sessions for today. And thank you so much for joining us. Thank you again, Ms. Robichaux.
Thank you.